Ready? Is it 7 o'clock? We'll call to order the May 22nd meeting of the Marshall County Planning Commission. We'll start off with roll call, please, Lori.
Mr. Barnhart. Mr. Calhoun.
Here.
Mr. Coltice.
Here.
Mr. Quinn.
Here.
Mrs. Johnson.
Here.
Ms. Vera. Mr. Vandenmaker.
Here.
Ms. Monaco.
Here.
And Mr. Buck.
Here. Next time is review of the minutes of the April 24th meeting. Everybody get a chance to read them? Any questions, discussion, motion?
I'll make a motion to pass the April 24th, 2025 minutes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion been made second to pass the minutes as presented. April 24th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next we have 25-PC-09 Anthony Munoz, a request for Sandy Beach subdivision, Lake of the Woods, Phase 2, located at 3405 Lakeshore Drive, Bremen, Sherman Township, Zone L1. Are you here for that case, sir? Will you come on up, please? Have a seat. Please state your name and address, your title, whatever company you're representing, and would you please pull the microphone up towards you a little bit, because we have trouble picking them up at times.
How's that?
Yeah, that's good. That's fine. Thank you.
Robert Alloy. I'm with Jones Petrie Rafinsky, and I'm representing Mr. Munoz
Okay.
in this application.
Thank you. Nicholas?
All right. Again, case is 25-PC-09, Munoz Anthony, 3405 Lakeshore Drive, Bremen. Applicant seeks to create Lot 7A, Lot 8A, Lot 36A, and Lot 37A through a minor subdivision. In 1990, the Planning Commission approved a vacation to consolidate lots 7, 8, 36, and 37. Later, the long parcel was split and the property adjacent to East Shore was sold. So this is what we ended up with after all that happened. So this is the proposed subdivision. This would be Lot 36A, Lot 37A, Lot 8A, and Lot 7A. Analysis: the applicant currently owns 2 parcels and would like to create Sandy Beach subdivision, Lake of the Woods Phase 2 with Lot 7A, 8A, 36A, and 37A. Parcels are adjacent to lake residential properties and surround the end of a public right-of-way. Findings: conformance with subdivision regulations, natural features, pollution consideration, subdivision layout, and street design. Finding 1, conformance with subdivision regulations. The plat shall conform with the requirements found within the subdivision regulations. Finding 2, natural features. Due regard has been shown for all natural features. 3, pollution consideration. Due consideration has been given for the air and stream pollution and shall be adhered to during development of the parcel. 4, subdivision layout. The proposed layout protects the health, safety, and general welfare of the county and its residents. And street design. There will be no new streets. Recommendation: based upon the information provided, the staff and TRC would recommend approval of the application.
Do you have anything you want to add to Nicholas's presentation?
Nope, that's.
I'm looking here, Nicholas, on the one to the top. Is that already? Is the house already there on this property?
Yes, there's a house, a garage, several small buildings. This was at one time, from what I understand, public beach or public lake spot.
Hang on a second, ma'am. Okay, I just my question. Anyone else have any questions?
Could we go back and take a look at the final plat? Yes. With the lots?
On lot 7A, is that a building? What is that on lot 7A?
Yeah, it's just an outbuilding. It's
Just
not
an
a-
outbuilding?
It's not a
Okay.
home.
Yeah, and as part of the public use, there were several like changing rooms or changing buildings. So again, from what I understand, those original buildings are still on the site. Like on lot 37 here, you've got 2 small buildings,
Okay.
and I think that one as well.
So it's safe to assume 37A will use that street to the south?
Say that again, Craig?
Lot 37A, access that street coming in from
Yeah,
the
from the
south?
south.
That was gonna be my question. I didn't see access to it. Anyone else have any more questions with the board for anyone? Motion to open public hearing?
So moved.
Have a second. Motion been made and second, open public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Anyone here wants to speak for this project? Please raise your hand, stand, tell us why. Did you want to speak, ma'am?
I don't get it.
You don't.
We have a property right next.
Okay, ma'am, please, will you come up here over here, please? Can you come over here?
I'm sure you can hear me without it.
Pardon?
So you can hear me without it.
Come on
I'm
over
not
here.
going to be quiet.
You can have a seat or stand up there and talk by the microphone. Just please state your name and address for the record.
Michelle Mosier, and we have the property at 3469, which is right next door to that property. And I don't understand what you're doing back there where you want them to come in from the south. There's a lift station. There's also our garage, which we don't have hardly any access to back of our garage to get into our garage to begin with. I don't know how they're planning on getting the access in there to those lots. Am I getting that there's gonna be 4 lots there to be built on?
Nicholas, can you answer that?
So there will be 4 lots. We have received no intent to build or do anything with them now. But yes, perceivably they will be buildable. There might need to be some form of variance or request granted for the more narrow lots at the time that someone chooses to build, but
Can I look at that closer?
Which lot did you say was yours?
We're right next door to the south.
Can you see the number on that? Would that be 49?
4980, yeah, right there.
Okay.
right there.
That's us. If you can see, there is like back here. Oh, you can't see. Yeah, that's the lift station back here.
That's a lift station.
It's a lift station, that's our sewer district station. Well, that's behind our garage, that's the lift back there.
Did she get any before?
Is that road to the south, is that Atlantic? Is that what that is?
It's not a road, it just dead ends right there, there's a lift station, there's no road,
How do you get to your property now?
off of Atlantic.
That's why I was getting Atlantic
Oh,
down
I
to
know.
the south. Okay.
Yeah, we come in off of Atlantic.
So you can get your property, you're just concerned about your garage?
Well, yeah, because there's somebody put a telephone pole in front of our garage, we have no access to our garage the way it is hardly, let alone if there's people gonna be driving in and out of there. And that property was owned by Bremen at one time, that was the Bremen, access to the lake, and then they sold it off and then Munoz bought it.
Who bought it?
Munoz,
Oh, okay.
so that's why I was wondering how you're gonna have access to get into those.
You say access is sold, is that the one that just sold recently? Last year or so? Is that down there by Fourth? That's not the same, we're not talking about the same one, are we?
No.
Okay.
And you can see Grounds' property here, they've got their garage and stuff there. And where they park. I just wondered where the access was gonna be, that's all. How you're gonna get in and out of there.
I believe it's a dedicated county road, isn't it? It's a platted road.
Well, the way it looked originally, it was County Road that went all the way straight through that was supposed to connect
Mhm.
Atlantic to,
Right.
Alabama. But it doesn't. There's no road there. But it was supposed to be county designated property. But I always thought that the county owned that and not Muno. That strip that goes through back there. So, is that the way it is, or?
I can't answer that.
Muno owns, the two lots in question. This was vacated, was that 1990? Yeah, this was vacated by Bremen in 1990, and that's when he purchased it. Yeah, Lakeshore, would make sense if it went straight through, but like she stated, it never did. So, as far as,
But I thought that was designated county property, that he didn't have the property all the way back to that fence line. That was county that went from Atlantic to Alabama. So what you're saying is that's his property clear back to that fence line.
yes, right here, that lot, 17-2-00005 is his lot. The town also vacated this parcel, which we don't have numbered, this very long one that goes out to the street out here, because this was all one lot at one time. But when that was vacated, they split it. So whether the original plans for the subdivision or, if the town planned to bring that road through, that it's not there.
Can I ask you, ma'am, I'm still trying to figure out how you have access to the 100, the bottom one's 172-000, whatever's 5. Where's the access to that, to get to that lot? How do they?
To my lot?
No, this one lot.
The one in yellow?
Okay, I see now.
Yeah, the one in yellow.
I thought this was a lot, but it's not. It's an alley or a street.
I'm trying to figure out how you have
That's,
it.
that's a platted street, right?
It's in right through
Which one?
Mhm.
It's the county road, right? They can go access right to there.
Okay. Is that paved or just dirt?
I don't think it's improved all the way to the property line as well.
It's
No,
paved.
it's not. They have a lift station there, but when we investigated, there's enough room to get into the lot.
It's paved
It's
to
still
the,
a dedicated right of way.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the whole purpose of the lot. When it was vacated, it had to have access, or otherwise the county would have been selling a lot that has no,
No access.
it'd be landlocked.
Exactly.
but didn't they come off of East Shore Drive to get to the lake at that point in time? You remember, Mike, how you got out to the lake from town? Well, I don't know. I was confused with what was going on, and, no one tells us anything except to come down here. And everybody's talking about it, nobody knows what's going on, so I'm the only one, obviously, that came down to find out what was going on, because it affects my property and my access.
Mhm, that's what she said.
She still has access back here.
Correct. Correct.
Don't you have access off Atlantic, ma'am?
I do have access to Atlantic, but what I'm saying is, where my garage is, right here, there's a telephone pole in between that lift station and that telephone pole, whoever put that in there, I can't get into
the north side of my garage, except with a golf cart. You can't park a car in there.
So have you been using that other property then to get into
No, you
your?
can't because there's a fence and there's a bunch of trees and it's a mess
So then how are you getting into your property now?
off of Atlantic.
It doesn't look like Atlantic is going to be changing at all.
No, but what I'm saying is they're gonna be coming down Atlantic and they're gonna turn and they're gonna go behind my garage to get access to that property, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And there's just not much room between there to have that access.
She's talking, there's not much room between here and here, evidently. Am I wrong? But,
Or should
her access is not the problem. I don't know,
Correct.
kind of confusing.
How wide is that platted street, Bob? Supposed
40 feet.
40 feet?
I mean, if we looked, I mean, I don't know what his intention immediately is or what the district's intention is with the lift station, but the lift station's really not really supposed to be in the
Be where it's at.
street right away anyway. So, you know, whatever the plan is to, you know, the fact remains, that's a dedicated street. That's why we created the dedicated street right against a lot. That's why
Right.
we're doing it.
Yep.
Otherwise you can't, you know, the county, I would assume, couldn't sell a landlocked parcel to somebody,
Correct.
even though the only person that really it would make sense to is the Munoz. But ultimately, it could have went to somebody else. Then what do you, how do they get to it?
Does the applicant have any plans currently of using that as an entrance to his property, or is plans just to continue access to his property as it is now?
Well, he's created a lot, so he's creating a lot. I don't know what his plans are for the lot, but I'm pretty sure that he's created a lot to either sell it or develop it.
Right. And I will say too, lot 37A, which is lot 37 right now, to the old plat, the original plat of the subdivision, isn't really changing that much other than a couple angles on these property lines here. That lot already exists and is, I mean, fundamentally not changing. You've got a little bit of lot line geometry here that's changing. I guess the major action on this request is that this lot, the odd-shaped one, we get the pointer, is being split into 3 lots, which was originally 4 lots on the original plat.
So the outside property line is not changing at all anyhow, so
No.
there's gonna be basically no difference
Mm-mm.
in what we have right now.
Right, because if we look here at the original plat, this was the park property. Here were the 2 original 36, 37, and 7 and 8. So that comprised that kind of odd shape. And then at whatever point this got vacated back in the 90s, Mr. Munoz purchased that. And so that was a lot with the same access as it's going to maintain.
Okay.
Can you put that back up again, please? Okay, so you're stating this is, who knows, what he's planning on. Well, this would be the lot, right?
Well, this is right here, this
That's his property,
hatched is that northern lot.
okay?
If we look at this right here, that hatched area comprises this. So this area here was vacated by the town of Bremen back in 1990,
Right.
at which time they split it into the lot with the home on it and to that other piece of property that Mr. Munoz owns now, which currently does have the same access that we're referring to, West Shore Drive or East Shore Drive, whatever that is. And fundamentally, that's not changing. The only thing that's changing on this lot, 1720005, is this boundary line is not going straight across like this. It now is having a little bit different geometry to it
Can you go back to the other one again? I'm sorry.
This one or the other one?
The other one.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what you're talking about here.
Mhm.
Okay, so see, there was road access at one time to go through there.
Well, that's the, yeah. Is that Sherman? Yeah, that's Sherman Street, or East Shore. This is Lake Shore. Yeah, so East Shore doesn't change. East Shore still touches that lot right here. But Lake Shore never went through even that original
Right,
plat.
I know that never went through.
Yeah.
That's all.
Motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Motion been made, second, to close public hearing. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Anybody got any comments, questions, discussion? I mean, it appears to me like, as far as anybody outside, nothing's changed. Because the outside borders are, I mean, outside property lines are all still there exact.
Right.
He just split what he's done.
The interior line.
Huh?
He just split the interior line.
Yeah, for whatever reason he has, but that's his business. Anybody got anything else? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made, second, to approve 25-PC-09. Lori, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. You need us to sign something, I'm assuming? You got the paperwork for us to sign tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to give us a couple seconds? We'll wrap up here and then we'll sign them. You got a few minutes?
No, I usually wait till the end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you. So, Nicholas, you want to give anybody an update of what we've been talking about?
Yeah, we've been talking about some ordinances on battery energy storage systems. Best, we actually had a wonderful presentation by Wabash Valley Power this morning, who really updated us and informed us on the battery storage units themselves, what they see for the future of power, distribution, capacity, storage solutions. So it was a very good discussion. And I mean, we learned a lot this morning, the group that was there. So it really gives us a lot to go forward in drafting an ordinance for battery storage. While this is still kind of a unknown and maybe undesirable type thing, it's also something that looks like it's going to be a part of power systems moving into the future, no matter what the source of power is. So I think we're going to be able to make a good ordinance for these types of uses.
Is that everything?
That's everything. That's all I got.
I wanted to add one thing. I mean, it was very good, very enlightening today. I think the thing that struck me the most is when you look at what we call our commercial or farm, systems. These, what RMC is doing, don't exactly, while they don't exactly qualify the same or act the same. I'm not sure we shouldn't look at breaking down to 4 categories instead of 3 in our systems when it comes to battery. And the reason I say this is because the one thing I took away from this is I'm just saying the Burrow project, basically that battery was going to, facilitate energy going everywhere. These systems we talked about today are going to have a positive or an impact right here in Marshall County going forward. So we're talking about stuff that's going to impact Marshall County. It's just a matter of time. So I'm not sure we had not at least consider I mean, would I be wrong in saying that and separating them? Because there's things that are gonna apply to one and maybe not so much to the other.
No, I think you're correct, yeah.
And I think.
Based on the information he gave us today.
Well, and I
right.
think the concerns of the public are gonna be kind of, I'll just say not as great on, like, when you're dealing with the RMCs and stuff, because you see the positive impact here in the county. You won't see that. And there'll still be some, but let me be honest, I think you said there'll still be some that will go out RMC over the grid, okay? But the majority of that, a lot of that stays right here and affects Marshall County, how we power the county and your homes and stuff. He told us today, correct me if I'm wrong, Deb, we will see blackouts someday if we don't do something. It's just a matter of time. I guess I would say grid, for lack of better, will not handle the demands going forward.
My take on a lot of that was what RMC is doing is more, they're on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
They're on their substations that they already have in place, rather than these larger scale that we were talking about over in Burr Oak, which was a 10-acre plot filled with these battery storage containers. And that was my take. These smaller ones that are already, NIPSCO already, or RMC already has them in play in our county, is only going to benefit the county more. And we're not looking at a company coming in, putting in massive amounts.
Well, the RMC is invested in the county. These big companies aren't. They're here to make money. Let's be honest. And this is something we need to clarify, Nicholas. But as I took it today, I don't see the threat from what they told us today, as far as the threat to the public, or that we've talked about with these, like this big 10-acre project. I just don't see the threat there. I think the whole thing, if it's marketed right and we make the public understand, is easier to sell.
And I also think that it's especially important that even on the smaller scale systems that our fire departments get the correct training
yeah.
That
No,
was something brought up today.
as well.
Yes.
Because even with that
No.
appropriate training, it makes it a whole lot more safer for everybody in our
And
buildings.
they will do that.
Yes.
But based on how the batteries were described, there's just not the.
Right, the safety concerns I think that we had and that I had in my mind before this meeting, I mean, these things are contained at the, tray level, shelf level, and container level. On top of that, what our EMC is doing is building them on top of a 2-foot thick concrete pad. So even if something were to actually leak, one, it's contained within the individual tray unit, then inside the rack, and then inside the container. And should it ever get out of that, it's going to be sitting on 2 feet of concrete.
And they're not the eyesore the big 10-acre projects are. At least the ones we saw today. And I don't know if it's always that, but basically you didn't see a lot of residential around them.
No.
They seem to be off on their own.
Yeah. And he did mention the one in Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
That is in a downtown area. So, I'd like to see that and how they've kind of screened it or installed it in that scenario. But yeah, I mean, this was, much smaller scale. What do you say? 0.13 acres, I think, was that 10 megawatt.
Could you get that address? Because I'm in Fort Wayne all the time. My grandkids, I'd like to sometime I go up there, drive out.
Yeah, he was going to provide that.
Just take a look at it, see what they're talking about.
Brent didn't have an address today, but yeah, he was going to send that through. So
I know the presentation we got today is not as, to me, it wasn't as scary as what we heard about these other big projects. These big companies come in and, like I say, they're here for profit. They're going to do what they have to do, but they're going to cut what corners they can.
Were you guys on site?
No.
Okay.
No, we were out of the RMC building.
Okay.
I was impressed with how he had discussed the regulations that NIPSCO, RMC, Wabash, all of them. These are already set up. They're here to protect the public. They've been here to protect the public ever since they've started RMC in Marshall County and all over. They're already set up. They're already protecting. The systems that they have set up, if there's any sort of a variation in anything, it was nice to hear how we are being protected right now by what's out there. And I'm assuming and hoping that this will continue in their other projects. And I'm pretty much assured that it will.
They're owned locally by their users, so they
Correct.
invest in the communities where, like I say,
Mhm.
bigger projects aren't. So I think that's a big difference. But
Right.
anything else you want to add, Nicholas, we missed today?
No, not really. I mean, the other key point I took away from it is that, I mean, the power structure in the county and the state and the country is going to change.
Yeah.
It's going to change in Marshall County. I mean, one of the big focuses they have and one of the big pinch points for them is transmission. So whatever they can do to ease burden on transmission and create more is what is going to help their owners and their people most. But we're going to have to accommodate that somehow. So we need to be prepared for it.
And the other thing was, we talked briefly about mini nuclears. I mean, that's probably going to be a way of the future. I mean, it's coming because you cannot power the data centers and stuff off the grid. It's just too much demand. What do you say? It's 99% of what we use now in Marshall County to operate data centers.
Either in 3 years or 5 years,
Yeah.
data center will take 99% of the power we generate now. So, I mean, if they're taking 99% of what we have now, then we need
What's
to double. Production has to be doubled, which means transmission probably has to be tripled to quadrupled.
That was brought up too. That was mentioned. No, but I think at some point in time, that's also something you could probably look in the ordinance. We could put some restrictions on when you get to data centers about how they're powered. That they don't have an adverse effect on the rest of the county. And they did say some of these larger data centers, they're bringing their own power sources. I mean, they do not want to rely on somebody else.
They can't.
Maybe somebody else will just be their backup and they'll set up the power because they can't afford to have these things going down. So all we're certain of today was it's going to change in the next 3 to 5 years. Things will probably be totally different in 10. But I don't think we want the citizens coming in with pitchforks and torches because they put the switch and the lights didn't go on.
We also talked about the footprint of this when things do change, because things will change.
Mhm.
The footprint of this is so much smaller than if we're looking at a 10-acre, 20-acre spot of,
Well, we're focusing on Marshall County
we're focusing on Marshall.
instead of the entire grid. Basically what it boiled down to. At least that was my takeaway.
That was my take.
From our EMC, yes, that is the takeaway.
Yeah.
I think it is important that we do focus on the requests that we are going to get for 10-acre and 20-acre sites. And we need to make sure we have ordinances that are appropriate from the county's point of view to work with them.
Anybody got anything else?
I do have one thing to say about the BESS systems. When Ty was here, we had the opportunity to visit Wabash Valley, REMC, and actually get to see them on site. That's why I'd asked that question earlier. And I mean, we pretty much heard what you guys got to hear today, which is absolutely phenomenal. But one thing I would like to add that you probably didn't get a sense of today is when you're standing at the road, you don't hear the system.
Right.
Yeah.
That was brought up today.
Yeah. But actually hearing it, seeing it, being present there, you don't hear it, you don't notice it until you're standing right there, which you won't be because of the fencing.
I would say even standing at the road, it's probably not going to matter because what we saw today, most of them are close to residential.
Correct.
They're kind of standalone or
Correct.
off in the weeds somewhere.
Correct.
Mhm.
So you're going to be a lot further away.
Well, there's your point of selling this to the public, and then plus the impact on the local people. So, with that, I'll call you to take note. 34 minutes. Motion to adjourn. Second. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn the meeting. Move to adjourn the meeting.
Second. Motion made second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.